This video is actually review 3 over graphing linear functions. It's going to be kind of the brief version because this, especially at the beginning, this stuff is not anything that's super new. It's just a review. So on problem 1, we can either put this into stat edit, or if you set it up by hand, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 5 minus 2 is 3. On the bottom, minus minus becomes a plus, so negative 4 plus 4 is 0. Because of the 0 on the bottom, this is undefined. For problem 2, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Negative 4 minus 6 is a whole negative 10. Negative 1 minus 3 is negative 4. Negative divided by negative is positive, and this can reduce to 5 over 2. Problem 3, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. 2 minus 2 is 0. Negative 1 minus 6 is negative 7. 0 on the top is okay, and that is a 0 for your slope. 0 on the bottom is undefined, so make sure you know the difference. Problem 1, if you put it into your calculator in stat edit, it will give you an error. If it gives you an error, that means undefined. If it tells you it's 0, it's 0. If it tells you a number, it's that number. Problem 4, we have a slope of 5/3 and a b of 2. So we start at 2 on the y-axis and then go up 5 to the right 3. If you cannot go up any further, you can go down and to the left. Just make sure it all stays in a line, like so. Problem 5, my slope is negative 3/4. My b is negative 3, so I start down at 3. And then negative 3/4 means I'm going to go down 3 to the right 4, down 3 to the right 4, and draw my line through the points. I know I'm going quickly. Make sure you remember you can pause the video and write down whatever you need to write down as many times as you need to. On problem 6, 1/3 is my slope, negative 5 is my starting point, so I go down to 5 on my y's, and then I go up 1 right 3, up 1 right 3, and draw my line. And then problem 7 has a slope of negative 2 and a starting of 1. So I start at 1 and go down to right 1, down to right 1, and draw my line.
Hello, we have a delivery. Oh, you have a cool room.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it.
Have a good one.
Thanks, you too. On problem 8, we are asked to identify the rate of change in the y-intercept and then write the equation for each line. So on problem 8, my rate of change, I'm going from this point to this point. We always go left to right. So we're going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. So because I went down, it's a negative 5 over 4. My y-intercept crosses at 2, so when I put it all together, negative 5/4 x plus 2 is my equation. Problem 9 I can't do because it's not listed, but remember the PDF key is online if you need to look at that. Problem 9, this could make a z for 0 slope. You could also remember this is a hoi. 10 is a vux, or you could make a u for undefined. (11) we're skipping because there is no graph anywhere. 5, the rate of change is the same as your slope, so it is 5. 13, your y-intercept is 6. 14, they want you to determine your slope and the y-intercept, so remember your slope is in front of x. and then your y-intercept is after x. Problem 15 asks which graph of a line represents a point containing 5, 0 and a slope of 2. Now I can immediately mark out B because it does not have a positive slope. Contains the point 5, 0 would be goes to the right 5 and nowhere on the no up or down. And D does not contain that point. So without really looking for anything, I can knock out one that has a negative slope and one that does not contain that point. Now I just have to figure out in my 2 which of these has that slope. So slope of 2 would be up to right 1, and A is not quite there. So C, if we go up to right 1, that point is there. So C would be my correct answer. On 16, we can plot these points. We can put it into stat edit. So they want us to write the equation. Oops, sorry. If I graph it, I can see that it's crossing the y-axis at 7. And it is going up 4 over 1. It is going up instead of down, so it is positive. So my equation would be 4x plus 7. On problem 17, they asked me to solve, so I distribute that negative. That's a 7. From here, combine my like terms. 4x's minus 3x's is a total of 1x. Add 7 to both sides. X equals 16. Problem 18, distribute that negative 7 to both terms. Keep everything else the same. Combine your like terms, so negative 7y minus 2. Everything else stays the same. I'm going to move 10y because it's smaller. You can feel free to move 7. Just watch your negatives. So 3y minus 2 equals 4. Add 2 to both sides. 3y equals 6. Divide by 3, and y equals 2. Problem 19, we need to use the slope formula and complete this problem by hand. So I'm going to label my points and my M so you can see exactly where I'm plugging things in. So y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1 equals my slope out here of negative 2. Okay, so I've color-coded everything for you. The minus, divided, and equals are from the red that was originally there in my equation. The negative 2 comes from the slope. And then y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. From here, what I'm going to do is combine my like terms on the bottom. So negative 3 minus 7, 3 minus 7 is negative 4. Everything else stays the same. And then we multiply both sides by negative 4. So c minus 5 equals 8. And then add 5 to both sides. C equals 13. Again, remember when it is a multiple choice question, you can just take all of your values, plug in for C, and see which one gives you that slope. Problems 20 and 21 are compound inequalities. 20 is an and inequality, which means we are going to go least to greatest. So my least is down at negative 4. My greatest is at 6. And at 6, I have a line under the inequality because I have a filled-in bubble. 21 is an or inequality. On the left side, we have that x is less than or equal to negative 3. And on the right side, x is greater than or equal to 3. So with or inequalities, we just write them separately and put that or in between. For problem 22, Tammy wants to run at least 10 miles per week. So at least means a minimum of 10. So she wants at least 10. What she wants needs to be greater than or equal to 10. So far, she has run 4.5 miles. So 4.5 plus whatever is missing is greater than or equal to x. We subtract 4.5 from both sides. So x is greater than or equal to 5.5 miles, meaning if she runs 5.5 or more miles, she will have run what she wants to for this week. 23 asks the possible number of notebooks costing $139 that can be purchased with $10. If you only have $10, that makes $10 your max. You cannot spend more than you have. So what you spend has to be less than or equal to what you have. In this case, we have $10 and we're spending it on notebooks that cost $139 each. In order to solve, we divide both sides, and the maximum number of notebooks would be 7. You can't buy part of a notebook. That's called notebook paper. For 24, they give you different information, and they are asking where B would be more than A. So that comes from right here. The information about B is that it's $30 a day plus 20 cents per mile. And then A is just $45. To solve, we subtract 30 from both sides. So 0.2 m is greater than 15. Divide by 0.2, and m is greater than 75. 25 wants to know where Hannah's account will be less than Faith's. Hannah is $210 already plus 15 a month. And then Faith is $175 plus 20 a month. In order to solve, I'm going to move my smaller variable first. So 210 is less than 175 plus 5m. And I'm going to move that over here so I can keep going. From here, I subtract 175 from both sides. So 35 is less than 5m. Divide by 5, 7 is less than m. On problem 26, they ask which of the following is not a solution to 7 minus 2m is greater than or equal to 19. So first I have to find out what possible solutions would be. I subtract 7 from both sides, so negative 2m is greater than or equal to 12. Divide by negative 2. Because I divided by a negative, I have to remember to flip my sign to face the other direction. So my solution is that m is everything less than or equal to negative 6. Negative 6 is equal to negative 6, and remember we are looking for which of these is not a solution. So negative 10 and negative 7 are both less than negative 6. Negative 2 is the only option that is not less than negative 6. It is greater than negative 6. For the last problems, we have a bunch of inequalities. So for 27, when solving for x, we would subtract 3 from both sides. X is less than 7. And to graph, we have an open bubble. Less than goes to the left. For 28, we would divide both sides by a negative 6. Because we divide by a negative, my sign is going to flip. That isn't flipped. And then remember, we can switch the entire inequality. And I take all of this and flip it to all of that. So x moves to the left, 3 moves to the right, and my sign switches back so that I can graph it. Open bubble less than goes to the left. The other thing you can do is just say that you're always going to graph the opposite if your letter is on the wrong side. 29, to solve for x, we multiply both sides by -3. So x, flip my sign because I multiplied by a negative, -9. Closed bubble, less than to the left. On 30, we take -2 and distribute -2 to x, -2 to 5. Then we add 10 to both sides. And then divide both sides by -2. I flip my sign because I divided by a negative. So I have -9 open bubble greater than. 31 is an and inequality, meaning whatever I do to the middle to solve for x, I have to do to both of the sides. So -8 is less than 2x is less than 6. Divide all three pieces by 2 and get -4 is less than x, which is less than 3. Both of these are open bubbles, and x is between them. That's why it's an and inequality. So x is between -4 and 3. Problem 32, solving for x, I subtract 9 from both sides, so -3x is greater than or equal to -18. Divide by -3. X, flip my sign because I divided by a negative, and 6. So open bubble, less than goes to the left. 33 is an or inequality. So if I'm solving the first one for x, we can add 3 to both sides, so x is greater than 7. And when I graph that, I have 7 open bubble greater than. On the second one, I subtract 1 from both sides, so x is greater than is less than -2. I have -2, and open bubble less than goes to the left. For problem 34, this one has a lot of steps because you have to distribute twice. -3 times 2 is -6. -3 times -x is +3x. 6 times x and 6 times 1. From here, I'm going to move 3x because it's the smaller one and I don't want to end up with negatives. So I have 3x plus 6. Then I subtract 6 from both sides. So -12 is greater than or equal to 3x. And divide everything by 3. So -4 is greater than or equal to x. Remember, we can also flip it to where everything is the complete opposite to graph. I have a filled in bubble, less than goes to the left.